Chiara, great to see you again. Welcome back to Popternative.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's interesting, right? You're always walking on eggshells when talking about a show, but episodes are out. We're obviously not going to go into big spoilers, but it's crazy, right? You film
Yeah.
something, you wait, oh, it's going to be coming out, in October, and then you do press about it and it's out in the world. Are you still getting used to that? Because you've been
Oh,
dealing with
yeah.
that for a while, but it's weird, right?
It's never like fully realized. I think that every time it's just as exciting. So, I mean, this show is definitely a labor of love, and I can't believe it's out in the world now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it. But there's so much, and my friends are calling me, asking me so many questions about what happens in the series, and obviously I want everyone to watch through, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, it's very twisty. It's a fun show.
Is there an element when because I feel like it's two different journeys reading a script and actually filming it, because you're just reading it and you have to more people are more visualizers than others, right? But you're reading this world and then trying to imagine it before you go to camera. Is there an element that you like the most about it? Do you love the satanic component? Do you love the nostalgic? Like, is there a component you like the most when you're reading the script?
Oh my God. I think there is so much to love about this show. I think there's reading it, there's filming it, and then there's watching it afterwards, which is almost like three completely different experiences, especially on a show like this, because I wasn't in half of the world.
Yeah.
There's the Campbell world, and then there's the White House, there's like a bunch of different White Hat world. There's like a bunch of different characters, and it's such an incredible ensemble cast. So I think when reading it, reading and preparing for the show, I was really enjoying the music. That was like a big pull in for me and
Oh
my
yeah.
character and diving into everything heavy metal.
Hmm.
But watching it back, I mean, honestly, like kind of just getting to see all the pieces mesh together. I think there's a great fun tone to the show. It's really entertaining. I'm like really enjoying watching it.
Yeah, it is very entertaining. It's one of those
Yeah.
lean in shows too. You know what I mean by that? Like when you're watching it and it's like, this is happening. And you're like, yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah, that's such a good way
Wait,
of putting
that
it.
just happened?
No,
Yeah.
so good. Would you say you're getting into metal a lot more after being on Hysteria?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I had done, a very gentle
That was the
overview
best. You're
in
like,
my
that was
in
the
my
song. You're
younger
like,
years.
listen, I
No, okay, so one of my best friends is actually a bassist in a heavy metal band.
Okay.
And we've been friends since high school. And when I signed on to this show, I kind of came to him and I was like, hey, look, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've totally like convinced people that I'm ready for this role and I'm ready for this character. And I don't know anything about this. I need so much help. So he kind of took me through what we called the history of
And
metal.
he gave you playlists and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and he took me back kind of to like when metal like began and like the kind of overview of metal into the 80s, into like a little bit of the 90s, and then some more modern metal, and also kind of different bassists throughout metal history.
Yeah.
And so I've learned so much. I know so much. Now I know too much,
Can
and I
you
need.
disclose the band? Like, what's this band called?
Um, I mean, I don't want to.
No, because I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of metal. Like maybe I've heard of them.
It's a small like band in LA that they created in the last 2 years. My friend's name is Goodman, and he's a great, wonderful guy.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. No. Because I'm a big metal guy. Like I listen to a lot of
to be
music.
really
So
honest, I their name has changed like twice, and I'm not sure exactly what it is right now. And also, I feel like he'd be embarrassed if he said this one. Nonetheless,
no, it's all good.
I will send it to you, and I will think of
I
what
would
the name.
love to listen. No, I just that's like what I do for people that know me in PD Beats. Like PD Beats was my stage name when I used to play in metal bands back in Canada.
Really?
Yes, I was a
Stop
drummer.
it.
Yes.
So you love heavy metal as
I
much as I.
love heavy metal. I'm a big Slipknot fan, System of a Down, Iron Maiden, Metallica. I love it. It's my
My
favorite.
my lock screen on my phone now is For Whom the Bell Tolls. So that'll tell you how much I've transitioned over the last, year and a
There's an
half.
energy. Like it's funny because I'm also a big horror movie fan, and I love horror movies for the same reason I love heavy metal music, Yara. Because when I listen to heavy metal music, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. When I watch a horror movie, I feel like I'm on a roller
Like,
coaster. I love the adrenaline.
totally. The adrenaline is amazing and it keeps you like on the edge of your seat. You're more invested. I mean, listening to heavy metal music is an experience. And then that alone is an experience. And then going to a heavy metal show is a
Mhm.
completely like additional experience.
And the best thing is when the world's kind of joined forces where you have these horror movies that have heavy metal soundtracks.
Metal in them, so that's why you have to watch Hysteria.
Fear Street had some really good songs that are kind of metal. Just saying.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas is not like metal, but it's like it was so good.
It's tiptoeing into that land.
Oh
for
man,
sure.
it's so good. So much happens before you go to camera on something like Hysteria, right? Because you were kind of talking about so much that to love in the script, and then there's kind of like the different worlds, like you mentioned, and going back in time. So all the costumes and the music component. So from an acting storyteller perspective, you can see it as two journeys, right? Before filming Hysteria and after filming Hysteria, or do you see it as one big journey with multiple steps? I'm curious about that.
I think there's a bunch of little journeys that are all on the same road.
Yeah.
So you're taking a bunch of pit stops to kind of your final destination. And then there might be a destination after that. It's kind of, you're continually moving forward. There was so much that went into this show. I mean, it was honestly, Peacock gifted us with such an amazing opportunity because, well, we had the audition process of actually signing on to the show and agreeing that we were all going to do it. But then they had us kind of almost immediately go to Atlanta and start doing band camp. So it was me and Kazai and MJ, and we did like many weeks of music lessons, like 5 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week. Music, learning the bass, learning to sing, or learning more. I sang before, but like growing my instrument.
Yeah.
And then we also did improv camp with me and the boys. So we were working on our dynamic and kind of developing that natural friend group. And then you go into actually, the pre-production of creating the looks of all these characters, which was incredible. I mean, we had Deborah Maguire, who's like an icon in kind of all costume design throughout, the last, every amazing show I feel like we've seen over the last 40 years, she costume designed for. And we have Katie Ballard, who's incredible for hair and our amazing makeup department. And, we spent so much time crafting the looks for each individual character. And especially for Jordy, the way that she presents herself is like half if not more of who she is.
Yeah.
So there's time that went into that, and then you actually film, which is a whole nother experience. And then it wraps, and then it now.
And then the ever journey of talking heavy metal on interviews, right?
Exactly. And then getting to experience through other people watching it for the first time. My mom kind of purposefully didn't read anything. I didn't tell her too much about what was going on. She heard little snippets here and there of like, oh, today I did this on set. She's like, what? But she watched the whole show over the weekend, and she's not someone who watches TV quickly. Like I was like, oh, a month from now, we'll hear what she thinks.
That's amazing.
She couldn't stop watching. She's like, I love this show. This is so fun. She's calling me, making so much commentary about all the ups and downs.
It's fun when a show has so many things in it, because then you can think about the wide audiences that it can kind of capture if you think about that. And I feel like Hysteria is a great example of that.
Oh, for sure. I think there's a little something for everybody.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And you can't say that for a lot of shows. Like you look at a show like this and it's like, oh my goodness. Like, I remember, it's funny. It's the same thing with Hysteria. I remember going to a Metallica concert when I was younger.
Yeah.
And there was in the crowd, like, people my age, so I was like 17, and then there were people younger than me, but then there was like people my grandfather's age at the time, like in the crowd. Like I'm just saying, like,
there's a huge wide age group for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter whether you've been on a set one time or thousands of times, there's always going to be learning experiences from an acting storyteller perspective. What were some learning experiences for you? I mean, I feel like you already answered this question with a lot of your answers, but like maybe you could talk about more about it. But like, I feel like there was a lot of learning experiences for Hysteria specifically for you that you could take for future projects. What were one or two that come to mind specifically?
I mean, I think there's a lot to learn on every set that you step on. I think something that's really exciting about our industry and our field is that half of growing and learning is just kind of continuing to do it. And also learning that, everybody's in it together.
Yeah.
There's often this idea as an actor that somehow you know less or you're not as prepared as maybe somebody else. But, on this show especially, I was working with so many iconic and fantastic actors who were, we were all learning together. We were all growing together. We were creating this world together. And having, an experience like that was such a gift. But yeah, I think, in terms of the actual research and the history that we had to do in order to step into the Satanic Panic and step into the 80s, there was a lot that went into that.
Mhm.
Obviously, I was not yet born in 1989. Nonetheless, I wanted it to, we wanted to feel like we were really there and it was authentic and true to the time.
Absolutely. You look at a lot of your past projects, and it's pretty cool because it's like different kind of worlds, but you play different characters. And I'm wondering, some were similar genres to Hysteria, some were not similar genres, but at the end of the day, it's all storytelling. How separate are past projects for you compared to something like Hysteria? Like, do you bring mindsets of preparation from Fear Street or Like a Girl Live to something like Hysteria, or are they completely separate once you wrap them?
I think it's kind of that same idea that every step forward is it's a step forward.
Yeah.
I could not have been ready to do Hysteria had I not worked on Cruel Summer and Luckiest Girl Alive and Fear Street. All
Yeah.
of the things that I was able to pick up from those projects, they just furthered me in my, in being a human being. I learned a lot from those
Mhm.
experiences. I mean, I'm also growing and getting older, but as well as an actor, as a member of set, as a member of a community, with relationships and friendships on set, I
Mhm.
think kind of each project leads you further down the road. And there's so much education that's involved in that. In terms of preparation, there's definitely some through lines that I have for each thing I work on.
Mhm.
Like, I love doing playlists for every character I work on. I think
Oh.
developing the look is really exciting. Diving into the world is really exciting, but obviously those are individual depending on the time period and what the project is. But I've done a lot of kind of like 70s, 80s, 90s. I've lived
You've
in
gone
that.
back in time quite a bit.
I guess I'm just not very 2024. What can I say?
It's so true. A lot of your roles are like going back in time for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about me. They're like wrong decade.
That's so funny. It's interesting too because you look at something like Hysteria that is so dynamic and so massive. You talked about like the people involved, like Bruce, Anna, like Julie, like everyone involved. So I'm wondering, like, you're obviously interested in acting, but when you work on something like that and the scale's big, does your like creative mind and filmmaker mind pop off and you're like maybe wanting to go behind the camera at all and like write and direct, or is acting the main kind of focus specifically?
Well, you're actually the first person to be hearing this.
Oh my
Maybe
goodness.
someone gave you a little tip. It's
No,
not
do you have like are you writing something or are you?
Well, I just wrote and directed a short film that I created over the last month in New York City.
Congratulations.
So, thank you so much.
I can't wait to see it. That's amazing.
I wrote, directed, produced, and starred in it. So it was a lot of work. But I'm super excited for it to be out in the world. And it was kind of a labor of love as well, and a story that I'd been wanting to tell for a while.
My goodness, that's awesome. No, I'm so happy for you. I'm just, I started this as like Popternative as like a media outlet, but now with Popternative Pictures, I'm making films and executive producing feature films, and it's like I get it now. It's like I get the rush, and I love what you said because it's something I'm learning, Chiara, about, and I love it. Making film, especially indie film, it is such a team sport. Like it's insane. Like,
you need every single person. If you are missing one person, your production cannot go through.
No.
It is all about community. It is about collaboration. And that's why it's such an honor to work with some of the people that I have, because I'm getting the opportunity to collaborate with some of the best people in their fields, between, everything, hair, makeup, wardrobe, set design, camera department, the DPs, the writers, the producers, the directors, the rest of the cast. I'm learning from everyone. You can learn from every aspect. I think the best advice I ever got was to spend a day shadowing in each department. I think to be able to direct, that's something that you need to do at some point.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's so congrats on your short film. That's amazing. And congrats on Hysteria on Peacock. People can finally check it out. So much fun. Chiara, it's always great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Great chatting with you too. Thank you so much.
Your Instagram account is just your name if people want to keep up to date with everything, right?
Yes.
So it's just Chiara Aurelia, right?
Aurelia.
Aurelia.
Spelled a little funny.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Chiara and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.